Hello everybody, this is Based Man himself, No Name. Today we're going to be ranking bosses by aura. My name is No Name and there is really nothing you need to know. It's my first video and I'm not sure if I will do more of the videos. I'd like to try, but it all depends. Right, so the rules. The first rule will be very obvious. We are not going to be ranking any bosses who are not out in global, and we are not going to be ranking any bosses who I've not seen in game, who I've not fought against. Right, so let's start with the obvious. The very boring boss called Crown Slayer. Cool name, but it's really not a boss, it's just an elite enemy who has no real abilities, who is one of the bosses, definitely one of the bosses. Next, W. Not a bad character, pretty cool in that sense, but as a boss, yeah, I'm not really sure. Probably bad aura with this one. Because she's cool, but even in the beginning she doesn't pose any threat. Her only cool side reveals in the Arknights memoirs and anything but her boss fight. Next, Skull Shatterer. Very easy boss, no real aura. Well, her design, or well, him, not sure. Skull Shatterer has a good design, that's my point. My second point is that Skull Shatterer is just not very cool, right? The name is the coolest thing he has going for him. So we put on no aura and move on. Now, what's the name of this one? Siracusano. Yeah. He has actual better aura than W, Skull Shatterer, but just to be honest, I'm going to put it here. His boss fight is arguably more hard than any of those three, but W is a pretty cool character. She has some aura, but not the boss fight. Frostnova. Frostnova has pretty okay aura. Yeah, okay aura it is. Why not menacing, you may ask? Not menacing because Frostnova is a child, right? A child who is not menacing in the essence of the child. Mephisto. Mephisto is no aura. Faust. Well, he definitely has more aura than all of those. He also is a child, so he cannot go more than okay aura, but his outfit and his boss fight, yeah, I guess he's just below Frostnova. Frostnova Winter Scar. Her fight is very much hard, especially in your first playthrough. So I'm going to put her above all of the people. Patriot. Very menacing. Hard boss fight, cool design. Mephisto the Singer. Mephisto the Singer, he has some aura. More aura than probably W. But does he? The one thing he has going for him is his theme. But his real theme is just being sad, and being sad is not that good of an aura. Tallulah the Fighter. Her boss fight is not very hard, and she's really just a filler for the next boss. She has some aura, she is probably right. She is pretty cool. But is she cooler than Winter Scar? I'm not sure. This is the Deathless Black Snake. The Deathless Black Snake is one of the main villains of Arknights. Being the main villain she is just very menacing. Being the manifestation of Ursus. And Ursus as a very threatening country, may I say, has some real aura. Same goes for the Deathless Black Snake. Right. Next thing I will probably be ranking first interval bosses. Let's just move those out of the way. Big Bob and Large Bob. Big Adam, yeah, that's the name. Big Bob, he's a man with a chainsaw. Nothing to say here. Chainsaw, yeah, pretty cool. But as a boss fight, not very cool. Bad aura it is. Big Adam, he's like Big Bob, but without the cool name. He's also red. What is red? Red is menacing. So you may argue that Big Adam is more aura than Bob. But, dare I say, Big Bob has a cool name. Big Adam, he's an Adam. Adam, not that cool of a name. Now Pompeii. Pompeii, it is really just a volcanic slug. But volcanic slug. Yeah, it's just a volcanic slug. Nothing to say here. Let's move on to the story bosses. This is the Mandragora, or the leader of the opposition. The leader of Dublin. Or anything. I really don't read the story very much. Mandragora is menacing. But by her design, she's just a cat girl. Just a cat girl who is arguably more menacing in her base form than her second form, where she just starts flying, and yeah, flying is cool, controlling stone is cool. But is she menacing? Nah, I don't think so. She's around there, or even lower. Let's just put it there, because she's a leader. Manfred. Here's the thing about Manfred. Manfred is very menacing character. Like Mandragora, but without the cat ears. He's also a general, war-hardened. Mandragora's design, it's pretty good, but it doesn't reflect her war leader side. It more reflects her just stonecaster side. And stonecaster, it's pretty menacing, but not as menacing as, for example, a very cool man with a crossbow who's looking very slick, or a leader of reunion. So arguably Manfred is somewhere around here. I would have put him in menacing if he was, you know, more menacing as a boss, I guess. The Steam Knight. I'm not sure. I might move it down to just menacing, but for now let's just put it in the very menacing tier. It's just a very, very, very big knight, a machinery of the past, an artifact of war, scary things, Damastic cluster. The theme is one of the better themes of boss fights in Arknights, at least for my test, but as a boss, as a design, I'm not sure if it has any real aura. Let's put it here. The King of the Vampires. What is his name? Duke Warrell, Regent's Crimson. Now see, he has a very king design. very, 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 very cool. He reminds me of the base design of Cachet, the human form of Deathless Black Snake. He's also one of the main leaders of the second chapter of main story, but is he that menacing? I'm not sure. He is, as an emperor, he doesn't have much to say about himself. His time tricks were very cool. His resurrections in battle were also very cool. But on our side, yeah, he's just menacing. He's not as menacing as a giant pile of war, giant pile of armor, Patriot, or Deathless Black Snake. Rat King. I put him in menacing. Why? Simply because he's the king of rats. He's the one and only king of Lungmen, king of the mafia. Cool design, cool boss fight. And the one thing I also like about him is that when he's defeated, he's not really defeated, he just claps his hands and leaves. So there may be an assumption made that he's actually stronger than we see in battle. That Madrock. Madrock, by design, she is a boss, a leader in armor, futuristic armor, with a hammer, which is very cool. But is it so cool that it's above Manfred, above Winter Scar, above Rat King? I'm not so sure. Again, it's really just a very cool armor with a hammer. Not that menacing, because her animations and her boss fight, it doesn't really reflect that aura. Big ugly thing. No aura, it's a giant robot. Corrupted knight and corrupted archer. Corrupted archer, maybe it's not the name, let me check. Wizard knight and corrupted knight. Alright. They are pretty scary by themselves. But really, is he that menacing? Is he higher than all of those people? Let's think. One knight, he just has a sword. He's very hard hitting. Back in the days he could just one-shot you. But there is one but about him. He is repetitive with the other knight. Yet the other knight has a crossbow. An axe and a crossbow. If we take that design with an axe, it's cool. But there is one elite enemy that matches the corrupted knight very well, and that is the enemy that gains attack when other enemies die. This enemy is just like that enemy, but I guess cooler. The one thing I don't like is reusing design, so this bow guy will be just about here, while this guy will be just about here. They're not that menacing of a design or a boss fight, but one thing I know for sure is that in the story and what they're trying to accomplish is pretty menacing. Jesselton. Very good theme, very smug design, boss fights, yes, very easy. But just by design, just by the fact that he's the culprit, he is pretty cool. Furi is a dragon, and painting dragon. And yeah, it looks pretty cool. But is it aura? Is it menacing? No, I don't think so. The design of a dragon is not really reflected here. It's more reflected in other bosses we'll come across. The essence of evolution. One of the most cool bosses around here. I'd say my reasonment for this placement. My reason? Yeah, maybe my reason for this placement is just that because of the idea Originium plus radiation. It's a very cool idea and it's also executed well. It's an essence of evolution, something that's evolving so quickly that we cannot do anything to really compromise with it. If we don't destroy it, it's going to destroy our world. And that's also very, very cool. But being a monster in design, it's not that many things. What's his name again? Pancho? Yes, Pancho. Pancho is an old man on a boat. This is pretty cool theme. I'd say he's maybe here, above Tallulah base form. Why? Because he constructed all of the boats in event. He is the one who is controlling everything. Well, mostly everything. And one good thing about him, and that he is just very fitting with his theme, I say. A sailor who is old, who wants to change the world. What the fuck am I saying? Alright, I'm sorry. Maybe I gassed him up. Maybe he's not that high, maybe he's about here. Yeah. He's just an old man on a boat. It's very cool. He's pretty strong. But is he that cool? I'm not sure. He's just very small. Maybe that's why he's not that cool. Blood Knight is arguably more cooler than Nerl. I'd say that he's very menacing. Very, very menacing. That's a very good thing about his design. Dagenbrecher. I really don't like her. I don't like her at all. In the first event she was pretty cool, but I still did not understand something about her design, and as a boss she was really just a joke. So I'm not sure if I should put her in no aura tier, because she really has no aura for me. As a warrior without arts, yeah, she's very cool. She's very cool and she's very, very, very strong. With that being said, she doesn't look cool. She looks pretty normal. I'd say it's closer to like some base designs of bosses. She has a very big sword. That's also cool. So let's just move her up to the okay aura. She's not that very menacing. For me she's not menacing at all. But her black, big sword, her strong powers, yeah, it makes her okay aura. The dragon, the Xuan Chi. What's his name again? I really forgot. Alright, whatever. It's a dragon. Big dragon. Big dragons, they are very menacing. They are very cool. Let's put him in the menacing tier. The Martyr. The Martyr is very menacing, but that mostly does it only in his music sense. His actual design and his actual, I guess, in-game animations don't really reflect that. He's like one very, very, very gay martyr. Let's put him around, yeah, around here. He's very cool, but that coolness is just not reflected. His is really smooth. Maybe I will move him up a bit later, but for now let's just put him here. Crazy is the Witch King. Witch King manifestation. Manifestation of Witch King is very cool and very strong, but one but I have about him is that he looks too cool. He looks too cool and the actual Witch King doesn't look that cool. I will put him above Blood Knight. Not very menacing, but menacing. Oops. Because if you will look at the design of Blood Knight, if you look at the design of Creida, they're actually pretty similar. But Blood Knight is smaller than Creida. The full name, if I'm not mistaken, is Creida Otherworldly Remains. Blood Knight, he's not that menacing in the sense that he's not something extraterrestrial. Oh my goodness. Extraterrestrial. Yes. Creida is something extraterrestrial. He's the first manifestation of Witch King we see and maybe the coolest one. Awakened. Giant. Sentient. Shapes. The fact that it's very giant, the fact that it's sentient and something made from science, but something that we can't control, really. A Wonderland of Dorothy. I just saw a very big fly. Whatever. Let's continue. Awaken is not very menacing, just because it's not a human, it's just a sentient shapes. But just from how giant it is, I may put it above, below Faust. Materialist Antagonizer, right? That's the name. Let me check again. Materialist Antagonizer. Yes, I'm right. Materialist Antagonizer is boss of Ideal City, and it's not menacing, it's just a big drone. Zaro. The full name is Zaro Signore dei Lupi, and Zaro Signore dei Lupi is an immortal being, a wolf, a very, very menacing wolf, a very strong wolf. But one thing that's not menacing about him is his actual story, because he is not very menacing in the story. He kills people, yes. He is very, very much immortal, he's very much scary, but he is a coward, and he is also not very, dare I say, cool. Being beaten by Emperor is something, well, actually, everybody can be beaten by Emperor. I believe Emperor is a being that's stronger than even the Doctor. His power is boundless, truly. But in the actual event, it just looks kinda miserable. With that being said, he's still a very cool wolf, maybe one of the coolest monsters in Arknights. So let's put him above Blood Knight. Or let's put him below Blood Knight. That's a bit too much. Yablana or the leader. The leader is the leader of Dublin, the leader of a nation, Rhymth's sister. One thing she has going for her is that she's a leader, and her design is very cool. But one thing she has not going for her is that she is a bit of a joke, both in the boss department and in the department that in the end of the story, Rhymth, spoiler alert, reveals that it has been a dream. With that being said, her aura is still pretty good, so maybe, top of the bad aura tier. I just don't see her being very menacing. Jan. or Ya. Ya is a very cool design of a boss. And by design we could see that he's really the Emperor, the executor of the Pharaoh. Is he very menacing? The question I have been asking myself for about 10 times, or maybe 20. I don't really count. I can't count actually. Ya is not very menacing, just because his design doesn't reflect that he is menacing, that he is the executor. And in the boss fight he's more of a supporting force. He has very much tricks up his sleeve, but one big but is that he doesn't act as a threat on his own, he just floods you with enemies. Cut away the seasons is also a very menacing and cool ability. His aura, with that being said, is still a bit on the medium side. I say he's maybe yeah, below Manfred. I don't know his name, he's just a dragon. Or a wyvern, to be exact. From the Monster Hunter collab event. It was pretty cool, besides the Yato altar. Is he menacing? He's a big dragon. Pretty menacing design. But it's pretty basic just because he's a monster. Below Pancho. That's what he's going to go. The Gardener. The Gardener is not inherently a force. He is more of a supporting boss who is nevertheless pretty menacing. Menacing and miserable. Just by his story, just by his theme alone, he has, I guess, top of the no aura tier. Dolly is a pink sheep, the leader of the pink sheep. There is no aura in that. Clip, the Cliff, leader of Blacksteel, very strong boss. I say, yeah, he's cooler than Patriot. Why is that? Well, because his design is very much the coolest thing in Arknights. Patriot, he's slow, he's big, he's menacing, just because when he's near you, he's just towering above you. You can't really beat him, he's immortal, he's a Wendigo. And when we beat him in the end, it was just because he gave up. And he was very old at that time. Clip the Cliff is a human, is a Sancta. But inherently his design is guns. Now you may say that the Martyr, what's his name again? Andoin, he also has guns. He's cool, right? Well, yes, but Clip the Cliff, he looks like a sheriff. He looks like somebody who's been hardened by battles, and he's the leader not of a religion, not of a city, just a city. He's the leader of a organization that specializes on battles, that specializes on being in war. He uses his guns accordingly. He uses his guns very much, and his actual wings are guns. That detail, his music theme, his design, and his boss fight, which is one of the coolest designs, maybe, period, in Arknights. Just by battle, because he is not a boss that can be stalled, he's a boss who just one-shots you. One-shots you and moves on. The only thing you can do is be immortal or one-shot him. Next, Witch King. Witch King is a disappointing boss, because Kreide, he has this helmet, he has this crown, big, very big stature, he's moving like he's a fucking tower. Witch King, he's just big man with a very cool design, but not that menacing. And his battle is just kind of a joke. Not because he is kind of a joke. He may be less of a joke if the enemies were really threatening. He acts as a support force. And being a support force is alright. I don't feel anything bad about that, but one thing I do feel bad about is that how he presents himself. He presents himself as one of the biggest forces in Arknights, in Lithuanian, the greatest art user ever. Yet he is just a supporting force. Supporting force that tries to be cool, but Kreide just ratioed him, I guess. With that being said, his design is still on the roll with King of the Vampires, Du Quarel. Just because of the failed expectations, I will put him here, on the top of the OK Aura, almost mentioning. Harold. Harold is a very cool boss. One thing I don't like about him is that he's just a dude. Within the story it of course makes sense, but he's just a dude, like, what really is menacing about him? You could have given him some actual war equipment, maybe something that differs from his usual appear, but no, he's just a dude. He, for some reason, deals a lot of damage with his melee attack, but he really is inherently just a dude. I put him in bad aura below W. Why am I not putting it in no aura? Because Harold is a pretty tough boss fight. Slumbering of Sui. In his first form, is just a pile of goo. In his second form, it's a pretty cool dragon who looks like it wants to chop somebody dick off. Yeah, that was weird, I'm sorry. Just a pretty menacing dragon. With that being said, here a People's Souls was very easy event. One of the easier in Arknights, I'd say. And Slumbering of Sui is a very easy boss. His design and everything about him doesn't really reflect his godness. Because in the story he's just a god. He's a Faranmut. He's like Ya, the executioner. But the actual god who carries out the orders for Ya. So a pile of goo gets here. He will be above Mephisto. This is a new boss. This is the Emperor's Blade. Emperor's Blade is a very menacing boss. He's the force of Ursus, and Ursus is built like a menacing bad force in the history of Arknights, in the cinematic world of Arknights. His design is also reminiscent that of a Star Wars movie. He's like the Darth Vader of Arknights, breathing heavily. Kinda like Patriot, who is actually from the forces of Emperor's Blade, if you read the story of 6 maybe episodes. being very menacing, I'd say he's above the Steam Knight. But not much more. He's still, as an elite warrior, kinda expectations got let down, because in battle and in story, Emperor's Blade is just like the Witch King. They're like the force of the Emperor, the Ursus Emperor. And the Ursus Emperor, well, he is a very, very, very strong force, one of the strongest forces of all time. Yet in battle and in design, they're just a Darth Vader ripoff. Bishop is a miserable Seaborn. I don't think he has any aura. Maybe above the Slumbering Arsui. I'm not sure, he's just very big. But he didn't want to become Seaborn. He didn't really want to leave his human form, from what I understand. And his boss fight is just very, very, very easy. The enemies are more threatening to deal with than him. I may compare him to the new IS-4 boss. Is he even here? Oh yeah, here it is. This boss is also very large, and he's also not really human, but he has a lot of HP. Unlike the Bishop. Bishop is just like a very elite enemy, a very big enemy. For that he gets no aura. The End Speaker, the Will of the Many. By himself he's not that big of an aura guy, he's just a fish, no aura. In the second form he's a flying fish, okay aura, pretty cool monster. In his third form he is human Seaborn, and human Seaborn is a concept we have explored pretty much most of the time when we talk about Seaborn. But unlike the Bishop, it actually represents the perfect life form. The perfect life form who just keeps evolving. The first one to talk is also one of those designs, but the first one to talk is, well, it's not very menacing, it's just one very big human Seaborn, while this Seaborn is human and menacing. His boss fight was very tough, but on the stat side he's very easy. He just has a lot of mechanics to deal with. And that's always fun. With that being said, the End Speaker aura is just not good. The End Speaker has no real aura. It's pretty bad. I will be treating the End Speaker as the first form, the second form, and the third form. The first form and the second form have no aura. The third form, human Seaborn, is very scary, but not very menacing, just okay aura. With that being said, okay aura plus 2 no auras will be just about here, higher than Mephisto the Singer. Kristen. Kristen is a mixed bag. Her design is very not menacing, she's just a researcher. But, one big but, it's like Makima. Yeah, like Makima. Makima has absolutely no elements that scare you or do anything to startle you. But another but is that in the story she's very menacing. She does many awful things, and by the time the story ends, you start to fear her, at least a little. Kristen also is a very simple design, very good design, but not menacing. Lone Trail, a very good story. Kristen, good boss. The best event by far, there is no competition. With that being said, she's still higher than Dej and Breacher, because Dej and Breacher is so boring. This is the IS-1 bosses. I will be not ranking them, just because I have not played IS-1. In the newest ones, I'm not sure. Well, I guess... well. Alright, let's rank. This is the Gravestone, also known as the Cool Shatter, but very cool. Gravestone is maybe one of the most menacing bosses in Arknights, just because of how it's described. The design is pretty simple, pretty effective, pretty good. But how it's described, I should read you this aloud. 1 second. A cruel murderer, an assassin that pursues you relentlessly. The violence bred in this land will eventually grow inside every perpetrator. A cruel murderer, an assassin that pursues you relentlessly. An assassin named Gravestone, an assassin that's out to specifically kill you. I have not faced him in IS-1, I imagine he was a bit of a joke, but in IS-3, the stage with him, the Wonderland, it's very scary. In fact, even in the greatest of runs, if you go to the Wonderland and you get Gravestone, most of the time it's just death. There is nothing you can do. Gravestone is just that scary of a boss. Having your stats and just being very strong. I say his design is one of the most aura, one of the most menacing in Arknights. Next we have Balmard Faust. It's just Originium Faust. His armor is pretty cool, but Madrug has cooler armor. And yeah, he's just a very boring red design. Below Materialist Antagonizer. I don't remember this boss, to be sure. I probably have not faced him. From what I see, it may or may not be Walmart, Mephisto or something. I have no idea. Or maybe I've mistaken someone or something. Either way, the design looks very uncool. Next, the Jetman, IS-2 boss, yeah. He is a legend. He is a man that stole a jetpack and has not stolen anything else. Maybe he made the jetpack, maybe he just had a jetpack from his grandfather, nobody knows, but the legend goes that he stole one Foul Beast and never stole anything else. Just because he has a jetpack, that means he's a very good thief. In the battle, he's kind of a joke. He flies sometimes he doesn't fly. Just because he's very based, he will be on top of the bad aura. Making a jetpack just to steal one Foul Beast must be some real dedication. IS-2 boss. I think this is a Frost bug. 1 second, let me check. Oh, this is a Snow Daw. Okay, I'm sorry. Snow Daw is Frost Archer. Very basic, nothing to say here. Just a Snow Archer. Frost Bug is his brother, there in the play. He's even more boring, he's just a guy with a sword. With that being said, well, one dies, the other one gets empowerment. And this empowerment is... it makes design cooler. It makes design cooler, it adds a lot of aura. But just by story, just by fighting, because in IS you can't really judge a boss by anything by his description and his battle experience. In battle, they're pretty boy. The Golem is a golem, but he's black, I guess, yeah. He goes below Dolly, because Dolly is a pink sheep and he's a pink golem. Sheep is clearly cooler. Frozen Monstrosity is Walmart Frostnova. Her animations are very goofy. Nothing to say here. Bad aura. This is the Wandering Puppet, a boss from IS2. It's just a puppet on a bike, no aura. This is the Lucian Blood Diamond, also known as Phantom. Calamity of the Crimson Troop, codename Phantom, Blood Diamond. A demon in the mirror. He is cool in that sense that his theme is cooler, but if I were ranking bosses by his themes, it would be a different story. By aura, he is just some kind of a joke, in that sense that he represents very, very corrupted phantom in the mirror. But with his expression and his animations, he is, well, kind of a funny guy. I can't really say anything else about him. Pretty bad aura. Maybe above Harold, because Harold is just a man. Big sad block. The teddy bear, the hardest IS boss, a large boss done right. We have from the largest of bosses, Awaken is actually very big, maybe it's the biggest boss out of them all, but Big Sidlock is also very big, with the Bishop and the IS-4 boss. Big Sidlock is the toughest one of them all, and it may have been even menacing if I were rating them by battle or something else. I'm rating them by aura, and Big Sidlock, it really doesn't have aura, it's just a big crying teddy bear who whines, who is very, very soft. His rumblings and his crying, but nevertheless he's just a big sad block. Bad aura. The Puppeteer. The one controls all, or maybe he doesn't control all, who knows? He is pretty cool by design. Definitely better than the Blood Diamond. The one thing he suffers from is him being a puppeteer, because all he does in battle is just be a puppeteer. And puppeteers are not that menacing. They are not that cool or, you know, scary. Maybe for some people. I will put him below Jetman. Jetman is very base. The Playwright. You might be saying that I'm being biased, but personally I put him below Mandragora. Not sure above and below, I put him probably above Mandragora. But just because I'm making an objectively correct list, nobody could disagree with it, truly. I will put him below Mandragora, because Mandragora is the leader and her design is more menacing than Playwright, who is just a playwright, who is very cool in that sense that he is behind everything in IS2. His theme is majestic. His story is also majestic. His design is also good as a playwright, but as a boss, as somebody who is menacing, he is just as scary as fucking Mandragora. With his cat ears, with his cute appeal, not very menacing. I don't know his name. I actually Yeah, I'm not sure, maybe. 1 second, I will find it. Arknights, the Scar of the Shattered. This is the legendary warrior. The warrior of Sami that fights back against the shadows, the void, the corruption of Sami. And that's a very cool position. His design is also very cool, and in battle he also looks very cool. That shadow of him just making one move, but shadows of the past, they just repeat it like 10 times. That's very cool. But in battle he's a pussy, and in the story he is a bit of a pussy. You may say that he's very brave, but he's not very brave, he's just, I guess, running away in battle and in story. His design is very cool. I may put him just below Witch King. Now, Void, Corruption. I also don't know his name. I don't really care. But it's probably something like the corruption of the world. The iyowa. It's something very, very much hard to say, hard to pronounce. That's just how it is. His design is similar to Essence of Evolution, but it arguably is worse than it in the menacing side, just because he doesn't really change in battle, and he's actually not very menacing by design. He's just somebody who you don't understand, something that you just cannot comprehend. Essence of Evolution, on the other hand, is something you can very much comprehend, but something that will destroy you. Yeah. Now those two ending 4 bosses, I'm not sure what to say about them. They are there. Yeah, I have not thought about them. Yeah, I have not thought with them. Let's just ignore them for now. Those are bosses of IS4, minor bosses. This is, if I'm not being mistaken, the Demon's Blade. Emperor's Blade, who got corrupted by the Sami corruption, basically this guy. He has 2 forms. One form is much more menacing than the other one. I will be ranking the other form based on the battle, because really they only change the colors and design, nothing else. Demon's Blade is really just Emperor's Blade, but less cool. I say we put him above Faust. He's still Emperor's Blade, very cool, but he looks more like a crawling pile of tentacles. More than just a human who is very strong, who is the force of the Emperor. This form just makes the battle easier, so nothing to say. This is the Weaving Vine Creeps. It's just vines, nothing to say here. This form makes the battle a bit... Yeah, it's also cooler. Let's put it here. This is the Fallen Snow Priest. Sami tribal Snow Priest who got corrupted by the Void, I guess. I'm not sure who that is, but it's a Fallen Snow Priest. Fallen Snow Priests, they don't have that much aura. They are not that scary. They are just fallen, and they are just Snow Priests. Maybe even below Dolly. I have not faced this form, so let's just ignore it. Now IS3 boss. IS3 boss called Hymor, or maybe Paranoia Illusion. Illusion of Paranoia. It's a very cool design and one of my favorite themes in Arknights. Very good made, very well made. Yeah, that's the word. But in the essence, it's just... yeah, it's just a Medusa. And being a Medusa, it's not very threatening. In battle, it's pretty threatening, but I guess it's more threatening than Materialist Antagonizer. The Last Knight, a very cool boss. The second engine tends to be very annoying and also pretty menacing. So I say we put him around here, yes. Because the Last Knight is a Seaborn Knight who fights against the Seaborn, who is very strong, who is very confusing, who is a lunatic. But nevertheless, he is very cool looking, a very cool armor. Maybe just by armor, yeah, let's just put him up there just because of the armor. It's one of the coolest design in Arknights. When he's riding the horse, it's even cooler. The fourth standing boss, the Izumik, the something about ecology. Something about ecology. Not very menacing. Something about ecology. Not very menacing. He's just Medusa like Hymor, but even less menacing. In his battle, it's one of the, maybe the most hardest battle in Arknights, but really his design, no, it's just a Medusa, it's just a very big, large Seaborn. This is the Will of Sami, or Sami Villain, the Revolution of the Very North. It's a large boss, a pile of snow, really, nothing really menacing about that. Maybe. Is it more menacing than the big Sedlock? Yeah, probably. But, pile of snow, a very big pile of snow, maybe a god living in the snow. That's a pretty cool phrasing, but in the battle, in the story, in the facts category, it's just not very menacing. Skadi, the Corrupting Heart, but with a skin as a boss, not menacing. Where she turns into a dragon, it's pretty menacing, it's pretty cool, I like it. But just being such a joke, such really not a menacing design, I don't think she has any aura. This is Path Shaper. The Path Shaper is a very strange case. It's a Seaborn who is Expeditioner's Yoku Markar. I don't know. It's just a bit ugly, even. It's a Pathfinder. Yeah. I don't know what to say about him. This is his green form. It makes the battle maybe a bit easier. But sometimes it makes the battle harder. I have a mixed opinions about the green Path Shaper. Signed Karma. This is a more interesting case of a mini-boss, because he has actual story. His actual form, second form, is a joke, it's just easier, he has one bullet. But his base form with his story and his design actually puts him very up high in the list, just as a mini-boss. Above the dragon? No, below the dragon. Menacing. Very menacing. He's a mini-boss, but he looks like he's seen a lot, he looks very old, and unlike Pancho, who we see at the OK aura tier, he actually looks very cool. Pancho is just an old man, an old sailor, nothing really extra. Now, Bishop. I don't know about this form. I'm not sure what it does. Maybe it fucking... No idea. Let's just put it here. Let's get it done. Those are tideling animals, tideling bishop, and tideling archon. Yes, archon. Let's say bishop is a man. I'm not sure who is the bishop, he has a very weird design. Archon is just a regular enemy. Bishop is very weird, but maybe a bit scary. Let's put him here. This is the boss of event. Strife. Design of Strife. Yeah. He is very cool, and his connection to Sorter just makes him cooler. Because Sorter, she has no story, she's not that good of a character. But he's pretty cool, and so is he. He is a giant demon with a sword. In the second form he's even cooler. So I say he's about the Winter Scar. This is the SSS bosses. I don't think any of them have any swag, if you know what I mean. But I will not rate those who I've not fought against, and I have not fought against any of those, but I have thought about Mama's Rebel Girl. Mama's Rebel Girl is a pretty cool concept, of a boss and of an enemy, and of a story, from what I've seen. Her design is actually more military and more builder than most of the Arknights enemies. What am I saying? Mama's Rebel Girl is... yeah, she has the aura, but that doesn't stop her from being a pretty good design. Tumor is just a dude who fucking tries to spread radioactive waste. Very weird behavior. Happy train. Straight to very when if I see this, I fucking shoot my friends. This is the SSS boss of a Seaborn variety. Not sure if I have fought against him, probably, but he has a very cool design. I'd give him that. Is he menacing? No, he's not really menacing. Above 3. This is the Spirit of Liquor. I have fought against him, he's just a big robot. He looks very friendly, he's not menacing. I have no idea who that is. I have no idea who that is either. This is the Hatred without root. I think it's just a big drone. Nothing to say here. Again, a boring concept. He looks pretty cool, but this is a boss from Tales Within Sand, also known as Fire Within Sand. I have not really played that game out, I have started pretty recently and I don't know much about that. Again, is there anyone left who I fought against? Yeah, let's rank the boss from Base Point, CC12. He's very cool as upgraded version of the revenge enemy from the normal enemies category. In the battle he's also pretty menacing, but his animations a bit downgrade him for me. I say, just for the fun, I'll give him above yeah. Alright, that's it. That's the objectively correct list of aura. Thanks everyone. I'd say even thanks for people who just skip to this section because the video is very long and there is a lot of unnecessary bosses. But I just wanted to make it whole. Maybe I will cut down this video into parts where I will run just regular bosses from main story and main events, side story plus intermediate. But I will probably not do it because I'm lazy. Thanks for everybody who watched the video. If you want to fight me, if you want to argue with me, you can do it in the comments. But you probably won't, because this is the objectively correct boss aura tier list. Thanks for watching and goodbye.